The country commemorates majority rule. We've got full coverage coming up.
100,000, bring you guys 100,000. My sister is saying I'm gonna sell my house to give him the guys do not kill my boy.
Thousands of miles searching for his family lost to human smuggling. We've got their story.
And a local organization celebrates a major milestone. The Bahamas Tonight starts now.
Now in HD. ZNS Network presents The Bahamas Tonight. This segment of the news is brought to you by BTC, powered by Lime.
A major milestone in Bahamian history celebrated. I'm Kendino Knowles.
And I'm Keishla Adderley. Thanks so much for joining us. Well, they never expected a revolution, but it happened back in 1967. And last evening, representatives from both sides of the political divide gathered to give God thanks for majority rule and all that it represents. Our LTV's Munnings was there.
The Bahamas National Gospel Ensemble's powerful rendition of the hymn, "The Lord is My Shepherd," gave those attending the 46th anniversary of Majority Rule Thanksgiving service at Bethel Baptist Church Wednesday night something truly to be thankful for. Governor General Sir Arthur Folkes was one of many Bahamian patriots who fought for a free, democratic, and independent Bahamas. Noting that the 46th Majority Rule anniversary is bookended between the 50th Women's Suffrage Movement anniversary in 2012 and this year's 40th Independence anniversary, Sir Arthur advises today's parliamentarians to maintain our forefathers' struggle for a better Bahamas.
These three bold chapters form a brilliant narrative of freedom and hope. They speak to the universal values to which all humankind aspires, values which are the fountainhead and the fruit of democracy.
Prime Minister Perry Christie and Free National Movement leader Dr. Hubert Minnis agree that majority rule is indeed a revolution. Both leaders believe its significance mirrors the 1834 emancipation of slavery that enabled freedom for everyone.
This was divine providence. This was democracy, and true democracy that was started on January 10, 1967, continues to grow today. As we continue in our struggle to gain even more economic empowerment, equality of opportunity, and social justice. We have a new body of determined politicians on both sides of the House who continue to work at building our country. We also have people who are working diligently to ensure that our history is recorded and celebrated.
I am sure that with the passage of time, every Bahamian will eventually come to see in the celebration of the historic victory of the 10th of January, 1967, not merely the success of one political organization, but rather the triumph of the will of the majority of Bahamians of every hue and ethnicity for the building of a better, more inclusive and progressive Bahamas.
But it's a lesson our youth must learn about majority rule and its impact is what Bahamas Christian Council President Reverend Ranford Patterson is concerned about. In his sermon, he called on our leaders and Bahamians everywhere to tell our story and always keep God first.
We must tell the story that God has been good to the Bahamas. We must tell the story of the struggles of those in Maguana and those in Cat Island and other places who have to go through struggles every day of their lives to make ends meet. But their children became successful. We must tell the story.
LTV's Munnings for the ZNS News Network.
The Governor General, His Excellency Sir Arthur Folkes, observed the 46th anniversary of majority rule today with students at the C.I. Gibson High School. It was one of hundreds of services which took place at public schools across the country today. Fern Carey has details of the observance, which the government has vowed will take on greater significance from here on in.
students here at C.I. Gibson School making history. They're among hundreds of students throughout the country celebrating Majority Rule Day with a special assembly.
This event, I was informed, and now I really understand the significance of this day.
The Majority Rule brought the blacks the freedom to vote, choose their own destination, vote people of our color in. And also, Majority Rule, they also brought education, employment, equal rights for the black people.
The rule means to me is when the PLP won the election over the UPP for the rights of the black people, and they fought for our rights.
On hand for the occasion, Education Minister Jerome Fitzgerald. He reminded students that teenagers like them played a pivotal role in ushering in Majority Rule 46 years ago.
When you know your history, you feel a sense of pride and have a greater stake in your country's national development. There were young people your age, 15, 16, and 17, who played a major role in the first independence celebrations in 1973. They today are still basking in the spotlight.
Deputy Prime Minister Philip Davis noted that the road to Majority Rule was not easy. However, he said our forefathers made a decision to live in a democratic society devoid of discrimination and segregation.
January 10, 1967, when as a people we got together and decided that enough was truly enough. And we then voted in a government that understood what it meant to make sure that there was opportunities for all Bahamians, black, white, rich, poor, all alike.
The Deputy Prime Minister noted that Bahamians make up a smorgasbord of people with roots all over the world, and he called on all Bahamians to do their part to build the country moving forward. Fern Carey, ZNS Network News.
Well, students of R.M. Bailey Senior High School getting a history lesson on Majority Rule today. Our very own chairman was among a group of men and women who were part of a group that talked to the students about the push to Majority Rule.
In 1967, we were people that are not noted, and it's 6 years later in 1973, the government led by Sir Lyndon Oscar Pinland, our first Prime Minister, led us into being an independent nation where we had to answer. We don't have to answer to anyone. We set our own course, and you are independent people.
Reverend William Thompson was among the men and women that witnessed the push to Majority Rule. Now chairman of the Broadcasting Corporation, Reverend Thompson talked with students about the struggle of black Bahamians and how many could not hold such high positions prior to Majority Rule.
It is also the story of how a group of people fought against great odds to bring about social, economic, and political change in the country. Because the victory is won without violence. Here it is. We've changed a system. Change a complete system, and no blood was shed. It was done by people going to the poll quietly and marking an X.
To some, the name Effie Walks might not strike a chord, but for those who were oppressed and lived the struggle prior to Majority Rule, her name means a lot. She's the woman who helped make history and is known as the original political general. The freedom fighter was a part of the brainstorming team that planned the Majority Rule protest.
I know, like in life, some people forget, what you have done, and Yeah. But I do appreciate you coming, because you always hear about the men, and you always, for Black Tuesday, you always hear about Pinland, and you think that it was their idea, but it really wasn't. It was, it originated from you. So I really, I now meet you.
The students also heard from other Bahamian greats like Sir Arlington Butler, Bishop Drexel Gomez, and Father Sebastian Campbell, who, like Reverend Thompson, talked about the struggle and how black Bahamians are much better off today.
My brother today now is the maintenance manager at the new airport compound. He works for the NAD company. Okay? And I might as well tell you, people told us the difference between day and night, but I can tell you right now, he's probably one of the most responsible people that they have because of the kind of foundation that was laid.
Boys and girls today are able to obtain first-class education if you apply yourself to your studies here at R.M. Bailey because of majority rule.
In other news tonight, where are discussions now between BTC and the government, which is seeking to regain majority share of the company?
Well, in this next report, Prime Minister Perry Christie updates us on the latest. Janae Noel Ferguson reports.
Prime Minister Perry Christie today hit out again at BTC for their service or lack thereof. He revealed he's learned that the company has divested its interest in the UK, which he says is a matter of concern. But he says Bahamians who supported him in taking back the majority of shares in the company should not think that it can happen. And Cable and Wireless has now to decide on their position.
Do you want a shareholder 49% that is unhappy? Or do you want a shareholder 51% that gives you the management of the company, and that is very happy? That's the whole thrust of it. And so I expect there to be movement.
In December, Frank Wilson, who leads the government's negotiation team, said they have not given up talks with Cable and Wireless just yet. But Prime Minister Perry Christie says he's not sure if those talks have resumed for several reasons.
I'm told that the latest position is that a senior executive, if not the senior executive of the company, would wish to meet with me or communicate with me directly. That has not happened yet. And so I don't know if the negotiations have been delayed by the need for that intervention.
At the Business Outlook, BTC CEO Jeff Houston and the Prime Minister engaged in a lengthy discussion. Houston responded to the Prime Minister's concern about the service and said it's something the company is continuing to work on. He said that Cable and Wireless has focused on the Caribbean, and this means good news for BTC.
So I think that this only signals very positive news for the Bahamas and this area in particular, because it means now we're going to get more attention, more focus from the shareholder, CWC, and certainly now as more money becomes available to invest more in the Caribbean and Central America, I think we as BTC, as a major player for the company in this region, are going to be a fantastic recipient of a lot of that new investment.
Meanwhile, Prime Minister Perry Christie believes that all hope is not lost when it comes to taking back BTC. He says in the meantime, negotiations on the matter will continue. Janae Noel Ferguson, ZNS Network News.
Referendum Day still a few days away, but what was significant about today, we'll tell you coming up.
A local organization celebrating a milestone. You're watching the Bahamas Tonight in HD.
This portion of the news was brought to you by McDonald's. McDonald's, I'm loving it.